Okay, guys, here we go. Shepherd's Hot Takes. Alright, let's get the fun stuff out of the way. Bushel Vet Otter play for the Shepherds. Cool. They got harvest markers. That's the thing they do. The next card's a real sassy take from Honor. Cool. Who cares? Alright, here we go. The Captain, Herder. Melee Zone 2, Move 6-9, Tech 7, Kick 3-8, Def 4, No Armor, Influence 3-6. Playbook has Momentous 2 on 1. Looks like they're still farmers. Tackle on 2 or Momentous Push Dodge. Push Dodge being Momentous is out of the ordinary for what we know about farmers. On 3 Knockdown or Push Dodge on my mark. Every time I think they have made the best new playbook result in Guild Ball, I'm wrong. When Hammer had the tackle knockdown, I was like, this is it. This is the tits. Let's do it. But now, push dodge on my mark, out of my way. I'm doing awesome stuff. Or she can knock people down. Who cares? Momentous 3 on 4, 2 damage, Momentous on my mark, Momentous tackle double push on a reach model. Why not? What a result. Right. And then on 7, Momentous 4. Worth noting that she doesn't have a short book like a lot of the other Tech 7 models. I think they should do this across all farmers. Like, Thresher has a short book, right? Like, I'm not a crazy person, alright. Quickly looking up Thresher. Yeah, Thresher has a short book for some reason. Why does Thresher have a short book? Farmers shouldn't have a short book because of how insane their wraps are. Controversial hot take. Backup card, Protect the Ball. I could read it. It's pick up a harvest marker within 2, 6-inch pulse, everybody get close control. That's pretty good. Especially for a balling team. Maybe I should have done this earlier. Oh well, too late, we're halfway through. Shepherd's thing is they're like farmers, but if farmers were a 2-2 guild. Sheep become shepherds, or sheep become the shepherds. If this model suffers the taken out condition during the activation phase, friendly models are allocated influence up to their max influence. What? Okay, cool. We're going to skip past that real quick and come back to it after the legendary play. Rest up. Choose another friendly model within 4 inches. The friendly model suffers the taken out condition. The enemy team does not gain VP for this takeout. Okay, so the Shepherd's thing, other than harvest markers, is that they all have one of these punishment mechanics on their card. And when you take them out, they give everybody on their team a thing. So killing a model at the top of the turn isn't nearly as good as it is against every other guild. To the point where, like, that's your strategy if you're a killing guild. Sheep become shepherds is insane. Controlling this captain with its goal threat is going to be kind of difficult. Because, pro tip, how you beat, like, really hard balling captains, like, let's say, Scatha or Shark, is they score their goal, and then you hold them hostage and kill them at the top of the turn. They have to play a turn without their captain, and that's how you beat them. Do you still do that against this captain? I don't know. Seems kind of tough. Like, you can kind of always slam a 6-stack on her if you're going to activate her in the first 2 activations. Seems pretty good. There's also a lot of, like, weird tempo-y stuff where, like, how late can I hold her where if you threaten to kill her, can I still punish you? Alright, moving on. Babe. Because, of course, the Shepherd's Guild person is Babe from Babe. Move 5-7, tack 3, kick 2-4, def 5, arm 0, influence 1-2. Playbook is 1 damage or momentous push on 1, unmomentous tackle on 2, momentous 2 damage on 3. Weird playbook. Barani. Target enemy model suffers a 2-inch push, cost 1, range 6. Droppings, this model may place a friendly harvest marker within 2 inches, cost 1, range 7. So your mascot gives out of activation movement. Pretty good on a mascot for a scoring guild. Heartless Brute. This is the thing they spoiled in the blog. When an enemy model inflicts the taken out condition on this model, the enemy model suffers the singled or suffers singled out for the remainder of the turn, which is +2 attack when you're attacking that model. It also has Loved Creature. Why would you ever attack this model? Maybe because it's holding the ball. Don't miss your tackle. Fun stuff. It might have Close Control because what's-her-name activated. Pack Mentality, 6-inch aura. When another friendly model within this aura that isn't suffering the knockdown condition suffers damage from an enemy attack or play, it may make a 1-inch dodge directly towards this model. This is the same thing on Snow's card. This is pretty good. You gotta bring knockdowns against this guild. Yeah. This thing's kind of nuts. I don't understand why the pig is Def 5, but sure. It's good. It's got 7 health, by the way. Hook and Crook are up next. I'm not going to bother reading both because they're, despite the fact that they don't look identical, they actually are. Their plays are slightly differently named to reference each other instead of one or the other, but they're identical. Melee Zone 1, move 6-8, Tech 5, Kick 2-6, Def 4-0, Influence 1-2. Playbook. Momentous 2-on-1. Momentous Guild Ball Push, which is their character play Howl, which lets somebody within 6 inches. You scatter the ball off a model within 6 inches. Momentous Double Push, Unmomentous Tackle. Then we have Unmomentous Knockdown, Momentous 3 damage, and then we have Momentous 4 damage. Right, so attack 5 with 5 long playbook with 4 damage on 5 and 3 damage on 4 seems pretty good. It's kind of tatery, except that, yeah, it's kind of a tatery playbook, except that you have 2 of them and they can be ganging up for each other. Also, they'll be doing takeouts, but probably not in the way that you think. Herding. Once per turn during this model's activation, it may choose a friendly harvest marker within 4 inches and remove from the pitch. If it does, choose an enemy model within 4 inches. The chosen model may suffer a 3-inch push. Now, keep in mind, these 2, we haven't gotten there yet, but they activate at the same time. They essentially have access to 6 inches of push with pushes low-ish on their playbook. You have to be very careful that these models don't push off the pitch. Don't stand within 6 inches of the edge of the pitch, especially if you're within like 12 of a harvest marker. Yeah, they're scary. Just be careful. Littermates. If this model suffers the taken out condition, the friendly Hook, or in Hook's case, Crook, gain Furious and +4 attack for the remainder of the turn. So Littermates seems really good because it effectively makes, like, if they were both fully loaded and you kill one, it's like the other one's fully loaded because it, like, gains 2 influence worth of stuff. The other thing that's important to note is if they've activated, they have no punishment mechanic. It doesn't matter that you have +4 attack and Furious if you've already gone. And then their ability Matched Pair, which at the time of recording this hasn't been fixed, but we've been assured, the media program's been assured by Bryce that the intention is that they activate simultaneously, even though the rule says a single team activation can be used to activate both models simultaneously. You have to do it. It's not optional, even though sentence makes it's not optional. They're also worth only 1 BP each. And at 9 health, they're actually like kind of shockingly durable. Like a 4-0, 18 health is essentially what we were before, but being able to split those influence up. I think they offer a lot of flexibility. Keeping them together, I think, is really interesting. They're good. Oh, did I mention that they have the 4-inch dodge for 1? It just has to be away, so they have like kind of this weird Lure of Goldie thing. It kind of sucks to use because they only have 2 influence each, so using it is like a huge tax. Alright, next, Lamb. Move 5-7, Tack 4, Kick 3-6, Def 3-0, Influence 2-3, Unmomentous 2-on-1, Momentous Guild Ball, which can do 1 of 3 character plays, either Warming Oven, which heals 4, and can be hard bought for 1. Sow the Seeds, which is the same thing that's on Harrow, which gives you free harvest marker, or Weak Point, which is -1 arm only on the thing you're hitting. Second column, Unmomentous Tackle, Momentous Push, then Unmomentous Knockdown, then Momentous Double Push, or Unmomentous 3 damage. He's a Planting Master. This is Grange and Festival's rule that lets you drop 2 harvest markers at range 4 instead of range 2. His punishment mechanic is Workhorse. When he's taken out, put 5 harvest markers anywhere on the pitch. This guy also plays for farmers, and that's where I'm actually scared of him. So he seems rock solid. He's very plowman-esque to me, where he drops 2 harvest markers. And here he can turn extra influence into like momentum and harvest markers if he needs to. I think the real thing is going to be, can you project your harvest markers far enough forward for them to be relevant? I'll talk about that a little bit more in my wrap-up about what I think about their harvest marker mechanics, but that's my main concern with Lamb. But Lamb, man, he makes a lot of harvest markers, potentially make 5 in a single activation, yet costs 3 influence, and you have to have somebody to hit, but it's definitely a thing you can do. Ram, who has been described as the second most Alex Bots looking model in the game. Alright, melee zone 2, move 5-7, attack 5, kick 3-6, def 3-0, influence 2-3, 2 damage on 1 or momentous knockdown. Then we got a momentous push, then a momentous double push, then an unmomentous tackle, then an unmomentous 3. I'm not wild about how high the tackle is on a Attack 5 model in a ball scoring guild, but it's a planter. It's not supposed to be doing a ton of that stuff. It has Impetuous. This is Iron's rule that gives +2/+2 speed for an influence. And then it has Guard the Flock for 1 influence, range 4. Target friendly model gains Protective Instinct. This is the thing that's on Fallow and Kraken. That means if you're engaging them, you can only attack them. So at first blush, this seems insanely powerful to be able to put it on any model. But none of their models have like the same gimmick as like Fallow or Kraken has. Fallow and Kraken each have another ability that synergizes with Protective Instinct. Kraken having a Gravity Well, and Fallow having the out of activation jog when you damage someone. Lets them really just like take this ability to the next level. Here, you can just kind of situationally put it out. Also, it not being up naturally can make it kind of tough. I still think it's great to have, but I think it is the worst version, or the worst version of this rule appearing, or like the least strong. That being said, the faction has a lot of out-of-activation pushing. So if somebody, like if you put Guard the Flock out, you can potentially like push that model with Ram into somebody and try to control that with like their out-of-activation movement by keep putting it back on models. So they have to keep attacking a thing they don't want to. Alright, it has Battering Ram. During this model's advances, models whose bases are touched by this model's base immediately suffer a 4-inch push. It's Battering Ram, but it's 4 inches. Sorry, I couldn't get all the way through it. It's Battering Ram, but 4 inches. I think the rule is that if you don't bah when you're saying it, it only moves you 2. Although I'm waiting for Bryson Perkins to confirm that that's the fact. Active trait, Flock, 4-inch pulse. When this model ends in advance, one other friendly model within this pulse may make a 2-inch dodge. So that means this model alone can move something 6 inches by bumping it, pushing it 4, and then it's within 4, so you can flock it and make it dodge 2. That's pretty good. Have You Any Wool is its punishment mechanic. It gives everyone +2 arm for the remainder of the turn. With this model being like a 3/0/24 box, I fully expect this to be the model that you try to legendary on. You slightly overextend it, it doesn't quite die, and then at like the top of the turn, you legendary to give everybody +2 armor. Because when this guild has 2 armor, and you deny those victory points to an opponent, that seems insanely strong. It has Planting Season and places a harvest marker within 2. Next up, we have Shearer. Move 6-8. Attack 5. Oh, it's melee zone 2. Kick 3-6. Def 4-0. Influence 1-4. Unmomentous dodge on 1 or momentous tackle. Momentous 2 damage on 2. Unmomentous double dodge. Momentous balls gone. Momentous 3, and then unmomentous tackle double dodge with 16 boxes. All about the game. If this model suffers a taken out condition, friendly models gain +1/+1 kick for the remainder of the turn. This is maybe the worst all about the game ability. The dogs is pretty bad too. because the dogs are so easily played around, but I still think this one's worse because they could just not have the ball. Football Legend, 4-inch aura, friendly models within this aura gain +1/+1 kick. And then active trait Shearing, once per turn during this model's activation, it may choose a friendly harvest marker within 2, remove it from the pitch. If it does, it may make a 4-inch dodge. So it could pull a harvest marker within 2 for where they go. This model also plays for farmers. Shearer's kind of bananas for farmers. He's not bananas. He's not the most ridiculous striker we've ever seen, but he is a big, big deal for farmers. Farmers are kind of supposed to have this backdoor ball game. That's what Grange is supposed to be. But the problem is that the best striker in the faction is still Thresher by a million miles. And it's kind of a faction that if you can put the ball more than 11 inches away from them, they just can't get it. Which sucks if your plan is to play the ball. Shearer gives you an actual legitimate way to play the ball. Right? He can get the ball from farther than that away with setup. So you still have to play the setup, which is nice. Being able to where they go and then still have 4 influence is really cool. He has balls gone on a charge to be able to get around close control, and he's a reach model with momentous tackle on 1. The guy's a good striker. The 3/6 kick is something to be desired, but keep in mind he's actually a 4/7 base because he's benefits from his own football legend, and then he could hang out in Grange aura for another +1/+2 kick. You could potentially play, and maybe I should have saved this to the very end, although Shearer is the very end, it's the last model. But Put Me Back In Coach is kind of nuts in this faction because you can benefit from your own thing. So he could potentially get taken out, have Put Me Back In Coach on it, and have another +1/+1 kick from All About the Game. So let's talk about the faction as a whole and my issues with the faction, and then the things I actually like about the faction. So I think the punishment mechanic is a dumb idea in theory. My main concern with it is that it doesn't interact with an entire aspect of the game. 3-0 teams will never trip any of these abilities. And maybe that's nice because it's a 3-0 team, right? They're never going to remove your activations. You get to activate all your models. What a bunch of fair balanced skill ball you guys are all playing. I'm concerned with that there. I think they did a good job because, with the exception of the 2 that go to farmers, all of them feel very strong. And I like that they did that on purpose. The Lamb and the Shearer one don't seem to break farmers for me. They can make you have surprisingly good goal runs out of nowhere, but I still think they're pretty good. I just don't like the mechanic in its ideal sense, but the fact that the legendary lets you trigger one, and then you can also they're just super impactful, makes me think that they will actually be good. And then the final most important thing is all of the models, with the exception of the captain, seem pretty good. If the ability didn't exist, if the punishment mechanic didn't exist. I think that's really important to making them not feel hamstrung by those abilities. The other place that I think this guild really succeeds is the main place where I think farmers fail right now. And it's that all of their pull harvest marker abilities seem really impactful and are not a thing they can do without harvest markers. So right now, nearly every ability in farmers is either an influence with upside or just straight up free influence. On Thresher, eating an influence for the spin is very similar to just having an extra attack, but obviously you can't just give him 6, so that's somewhat relevant. Bushels is just free influence. Taters turns on his countercharge, so that's another one of the ones on the good side. Windles is just an influence. Fallows are just influence. What other Reapers are left? Buckwheats is a free jog, and so that one's kind of on the cool side too. But they just feel like kind of lame. Whereas here, every single one of their abilities triggers something they can't do without the Harvest Marker. And I think that's really key to making Harvest Markers feel impactful and making like removing Harvest Markers meaningful. That being said, my criticisms of the... Okay, sorry. Well, let's get all the good stuff out of the way. I think they're actually pretty good for a minor guild. I think they're on the upper end of minor guilds. I think they are kind of a low movement guild for being a scoring guild, but they have an insane amount of out-of-activation movement. The pushes can let you really threaten the ring-out game, and by really threatening the ring-out game, you push your opponent into the center, which means that you don't have to cover as much ground with your lower movement stats. Ram and the Pig bring a ton of out-of-activation movement, which is really helpful. Shearer has his own like viable dodge. All of that I think is pretty good. I think the guild is actually legit. My issues with the guild are that I think I'm concerned on how fun they will be in 2.3.0 teams. And I'm concerned about their impact on farmers. I think farmers were a little bit above the curve already, and were really Thresher focused already. I think both of these things are really good tools for Thresher. Yes, they're good tools for Festival and Grange as well. Maybe they're even more impactful for Thresher or for Grange and Festival. But I don't think they change the farmer's dynamic of you play Thresher every game no matter what. With like maybe some exceptions. With like maybe the exception in the Brewers. But maybe they actually do change that, because I think Shearer gives you a lot more game into farmers. Or into Brewers, because you threaten the ball way harder. And you can actually play the scoring game now, with 2 legit striker threats. The other concern I have is I think that you never play the crossovers. The core 6 seem very, very strong and really, really good. Everyone that's not an animal has reach, so you're just like innately... So you put 7 models on the table, 3 of them are melee 1, and you put 7 models on the table. 3 of them are melee 1, and 4 of them are melee 2, which seems really advantageous. Essentially, like, if it's an animal, it has melee 2. Obviously you put them all in your list, but I think you put Veteran Honor in just for cocky, and then you put Bushel in maybe when you receive to be kind of a taxi service. Or maybe against those 3.0 teams where, like your punish mechanics aren't as good, and you need another place to hide the ball, especially if you don't have control of the game, so you don't know you're going to go first, so you won't be able to put up the close control pulse. I'm actually pretty jazzed about Shepherd's Guild. I'm going to give him a whirl. I own an entire farmers team because I was a Grange main before they ruined him. And I'm definitely going to give these guys a try. I think they look pretty fun. The sculpts are pretty cool. I'd give them a look. I give them 3 out of 4 sheep. And with that, how do you guys feel about the Shepherds? Are you guys excited about this guild? Are you going to play them? In the comments below, tell me which one is your favorite new Shepherd. And do you think they negatively impact how powerful farmers are? Do you think they put too much impact on, or do you think they improve farmers by too much? Let me know. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. And until then, I'm Vincent Curkov, and this was another Snapshot thingy.